Hello. So I did an intro for this that's just like a normal intro that I usually do before I've put on any makeup or anything. Didn't have any idea what this video was going to be about when I did that. Mostly what I'm talking about is just my healthcare with predominantly is about one of my specialists, and about OSU, Ohio State University, and their negative policies. If that's something that you're not interested in, you don't want to hang out, subscribe and come back for other videos. This isn't what all of my videos are like, but this is predominantly going to be just about like kind of not even my whole healthcare journey lately, just a small portion of my recent healthcare journey. If healthcare is something you care about, make sure you give this video a like, and I'm going to go ahead and just cut off here and let the regular video start. Thanks. Hello, how are you? So it's been a while since I've been in front of a camera. I've made some videos since the last time I actually posted a video. I just never edited them because I've felt like crap. That's kind of what this video is going to be about. I am going to be doing my makeup, but mostly just to give me something to do. So if I'm not really talking about what products I'm using, they will be in the description box down below. I just want the opportunity to, one, film when I really haven't been able to, and two, I just want to be able to talk and share, and I don't know, it's just something I wanted to do. As far as where I've been, my last video was just me saying that I was having some issues with kidney stones, and that was kind of it. I didn't really go into detail. I didn't know a whole lot of what was going on. I have not gone back and watched that. I don't even think I edited it. I think that I just like recorded it on my phone. I don't really remember. There have been some things that have happened since then, and it's made my memory a little weird. I'll talk about that. Also, this is a refer brush, and I'll be talking about that also soon. So if you're interested in those, I have like 8 million things I want to talk about, and it makes it really hard to sort of concentrate on one thing. So I'm just gonna ask you to forgive me if I'm sort of all over the place. With the kidney stuff, I ended up going to see a doctor who, frankly, I don't like at all. It's a specialist. My doctor, my primary care physician, is through OSU, Ohio State University, since there is more than one OSU in the world and in the country for that matter. She is really everything that I could want out of a primary care physician. She really, really listens to what I have to say. I never feel like I'm rushed when I'm in her office. And unfortunately, she has seen just sort of the worst of me. I started seeing her last year when everything was just falling apart in my life. Anyway, so my primary care physician has been fantastic. And every other doctor I've seen at OSU has been really great, except for the nephrologist, which is a kidney specialist. I went to the nephrologist thinking, okay, well, this is, where I'm going to get more information. This is where things are going to, become more clear. They're going to figure out why I'm having all of this extra pain. And I was still just consistently having, and still am having, a lot of pain, by the way, but was just consistently having the pain that comes with passing a kidney stone. So anyway, I went to this nephrologist, and it was just like the initial visit with him was awful. He didn't answer any of my questions, any questions that I had for him, he basically just said, well, we need to do some more tests, so we'll talk about it at your next visit. And I had questions for him, like, are there any, like, just general foods that would be good for me to avoid to help with the kidney stones? And he was like, well, we're going to need to wait until we get your results back. And then once we get your results, then we can decide what we need to do about your diet plan. I also was supposed to go see a dietitian, like specifically for kidney, like that specialized in kidney stones. And I just never heard from scheduling. And so I had sent an email to the doctor saying, hey, I haven't heard from them, and got a response saying, I got no response from the doctor. I got a response from the actual nutritionist saying, well, you should hear from scheduling. I can't schedule you directly. So not only did he not respond to me, but he just forwarded it to her. He didn't even forward it to the right people so that it could be taken care of. And then I was just like, I was so frustrated. So during the visit with him, I asked him about the pain. And he said, well, it looks like the last doctor you saw told you that you could go ahead and ask your primary care provider for pain pills, so you should do that. He asked me one time during the entire visit. So the whole time, let me kind of just set it up a little bit. You go in, you sit down, there's like, you're facing this way, and then over here and facing this way is like the computer. So he's standing sideways looking at the computer the whole time, not looking at me, not really acknowledging me, and asked me one time shortly after the visit began if, there was anything specific that I wanted to share with him. And I started to answer. He got a phone call on his cell phone and left the room. Okay, bye. Like, in the middle of me talking. Not like, hey, this is important, I'm gonna need to take this. Just, bye. Oh, okay. Bye. When he came back in, didn't really acknowledge it. Just said, went back to reading and was like, okay, well, we need to do more testing. And I have since talked to my primary care provider about that. And I told her, like, at the time, my feeling was, well, he is a kidney doctor and I have kidney stones, but generally healthy kidneys. This might be an emergency. Maybe it's something really important and he needs to deal with that. My primary care provider's response was, that's a very kind response of you. I realized then that I wasn't being ridiculous in my other feelings. So, I had the situation with that and asking him various questions. He asked me if I had, like a genetic predisposition. I told him that I had only recently started to have contact with my family, but that from what I had heard, I was probably the last one in my family to have any kind of kidney stones. It seems like everyone's sort of gotten them. And he was just like, oh, okay. And so I asked him, like, is it common for it to be a genetic thing? And again, he was like, we need to wait until we get tests back. If you don't know anything, why am I here? And something that's really important to know about that, and part of the reason that at the time, I was not as upset as I am now. At the time, I was mostly just in pain and just hoping for answers of some kind. Since then, I have gotten a bill of like $400, which is what I have to pay for that visit after my insurance. I paid $400 to go to a doctor who didn't tell me a damn thing. So I was just like, okay. He was like, so I'm going to order this test for you. And I said, well, the test that you're ordering was already ordered by the previous doctor. They're in the same office. Like, he's 2 doors down. It's not like I was going to somewhere really far away and he didn't have immediate access. Like, this is somebody who is a direct colleague of his. And there were tests that like urine tests that have to be sent to your home. And I was like, they've already been sent to me. I received the first round of them this morning. So he was like, okay, go home, take your tests, deal with your shit on your own. Okay. So I did that. I went home. I'm gonna try not to be too gross, but you have to collect your urine. So the first, like, you have to do it more than once, but you have to collect your urine for 48 hours. It's for 48 hours and at like 48 hours, like segments. So you collect it for 48 hours, you put it in like a smaller, like a portion of it in a smaller container. There's a whole thing, but you collect it for 48 hours and then you have to FedEx it to a lab. So then you contact FedEx, you say, hey, this is my address. This is the label that they gave me. When can you come and pick it up? So the first time I did that, FedEx didn't show up. Well, they showed up. I actually received a package, but they didn't take the package that I had left for them to take away. And I was like, okay, so now what do I do? Because there are like these really clear warnings on the tests that say, if we don't receive this by the 72-hour mark from when you start, so you do the test, it's 48 hours. The day that you finish taking the test, that morning, FedEx has to come that day and it gets overnighted to the lab. So, like, there's a whole thing about, like, making sure that you don't finish the test on a Sunday. Like, it's a big deal. I received something from FedEx. They didn't take it. I was like, maybe it's going to be a different carrier. And then FedEx never took it. Like, the package was still there at, like, 8 o'clock at night. And I called FedEx, and they were like, oops, sorry. Driver was supposed to take it. We can set up another pickup. And I was like, well, that's not going to work. So I messaged my doctor, well, I messaged the nephrologist and said, hey, FedEx didn't show up and take the package. Like, they showed up, but they didn't. I basically explained to him what I just explained to you, and that I needed another test. He did not respond for almost 2 weeks. And then when he did respond, he said, I don't do that. You're going to need to call the lab and order the test yourself. So that didn't seem right to me, but what do I know? So I contacted the lab. They were like, yeah, you can't order your own tests. Not surprising that you can't just call up and order tests for yourself, because that would be fucking weird. Sorry. It makes me really mad. So I was like, okay, so what do I do from here? The girl at the place, at the lab or whatever, she was like, let me contact your doctor's office and, you know, see what information I can find out. So she tries calling, and she was like, you know, I have your other form. I'm going to try and put it through again with the original form. She was able to kind of get around that, so to speak, and order the new test for me, which was good because I was just beyond frustrated. And the test came. I still have not heard about the results of this test. I have done it more than once and sent them off. And there is a kind of frustration that is happening right now that I can't even explain. So anyway, I also, like during this time period, because I was trying to find my information for like what date the test was ordered and stuff, I was on what is called My Chart. It's basically just like all of your medical information in an app. And there was the like visit summary for this doctor where there are notes from what happened during the visit that I paid over $400 for, where it literally said that he had answered questions he hadn't answered and given me information I had asked for that he told me he couldn't give me. There was a small part that was outlined with like, these are foods that shouldn't eat and you shouldn't have more than, it said like, patient was told do not exceed this amount of sodium per day. You didn't tell me that. And not only did you not tell me the things that were in there, half of it was stuff that was direct questions that I asked that you did not answer. Infuriating. Absolutely infuriating. So I decide I'm not going back to see that doctor. I check. OSU has like 25 nephrologists. I'll see one of them. I don't even care if I have to drive to a different city that is 25 minutes away. I'm not going back to see the same doctor. And I watch this channel. It's Mama Dr. Jones. If you don't know who that is or you don't watch her, you should. She's amazing. So, sorry, this eye look is not really what I was going for. So, we're going to see if we can clean it up a little bit. But so at that point, I was just like furious. I went on to the little, first of all, not only have you not answered my questions, you literally just told me to order my own tests. So then I went on to their like little scheduling thing in the app to try and schedule an appointment with a new nephrologist. And there's a part where you can go in, you can say, this is what I need to be seen for, this is who I want to see, and this is why. So you would think that if they have something like that you could use it to schedule your own appointments with a doctor that you've never seen before, as long as you have a logical medical need to see the doctor. Apparently not. Not with OSU, anyway. So I went on, I put in that information, and some time passed, I didn't hear anything back. I finally called scheduling and was like, I have not heard from the nutritionist, and I also have not had any response about wanting to see a different nephrologist. And then I'm told, oh, well, once you have seen a doctor, you can't see another doctor of the same type without it being approved. And I'm thinking, okay, well, you know, first of all, at this point, I thought it was just specialists. But I'm like, okay, fine, like, whatever. Because when I thought it was just specialists, it made sense. Like, maybe they needed to be able to, like, verify that you needed to see that type of specialist or whatever. And the specialist was available. I don't know. I'm good at making excuses, I guess, for lack of a better word. I'm really bad about believing that other people are good, kind people and that they're not all just trying to, like, I don't know, make my life more difficult. And in this case, I was just wrong. There's no nice way of putting it. I was literally just wrong. So what that means through OSU is that they are going to contact the doctor you no longer want to see and ask them if it's okay for you not to see them anymore. If I just told you that I'm not comfortable with a doctor, I should then not have to have that doctor's permission to not see that doctor. More importantly, I shouldn't have to justify why I don't want to see any doctor. I wasn't asked for real specific reasons. I just said that I wasn't comfortable and that I would be more comfortable seeing the other doctor and that the other location was better for me. And also, like, I don't like to talk bad about people if I can avoid it, which it just, I believe in karma, so that seems like a good way to go in life. And I don't know. I was a little bit upset when I found out that it has to be approved, but whatever. So then, the next thing that happens, like, I go over this approval with the doctor. I'm told at that point that I'm not able to make an appointment with the nutritionist because they were referred by the doctor I don't want to see, and I have to wait to see whether or not I can get in to see another doctor. They also didn't tell me at that point that it had to be approved by that doctor for me to not see him anymore. Or I probably would have just immediately said, you know what, this is ridiculous. I'm going to see a doctor outside of OSU. But just because that whole policy just makes me really uncomfortable and it makes me really mad. So Mama Dr. Jones, she frequently says, you know, if you're not comfortable with a doctor, then there's no reason that any doctor should ever be upset that you want to see a different doctor. I agree. I think that if you care about your patient, you care about your patient seeing somebody that they're comfortable with. So, I waited for a little over 2 weeks and then received a message through the messaging center. The one time that I would have liked to have had a phone call, I got a message through the messaging center saying, I've scheduled an appointment for you for almost 2 months from now, which part of my initial issue, aside from like him saying we need to do tests and blah, 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 whatever. Even before I knew that he had put a bunch of stuff in the visit summary that we hadn't actually discussed. I've been having a lot of pain. I've been having pain that I shouldn't be having. And I don't want to go back to the emergency room because as expensive as it is to see the doctor, the emergency room is even worse. So I have been trying to get in to see him, like had been prior to requesting a different doctor. And the earliest, this was in September, and the earliest appointment was in December. So that's a really long time to have to just be in pain and not really understand what's going on, not be able to, you know, get any answers about the tests that have been happening, not get any responses. Like usually when a test is performed, it's performed through OSU. So you immediately get a little message in this like messaging center saying, you know, this was the outcome of the test. And because of the tests, I'm assuming it's because the tests aren't done by OSU. I haven't gotten anything like that. So I've been left in a situation where I don't know what's going on. I just know that I'm having a lot of pain. my migraines have gotten more consistent, having a lot of other issues. But I got a message through the messaging center saying that I was now scheduled for another appointment. Like, they basically just rescheduled the appointment with that doctor that I had already canceled because I never want to see him again. And that was it, that I couldn't see a different doctor. I got that message. I tried to respond to it and say, don't bother. I don't want to see this doctor, so I'll be looking outside of OSU. And I didn't. Like, you couldn't respond to the message the way you normally could. So, which I'm guessing is because it came from scheduling and not from the actual doctor. And normally when I use that, it's because I'm reaching out to my actual doctor. So I saw my primary care physician the day after that happened and told her the whole thing. And she agreed with me that I should not be forced. I'm going to do my eyeliner and then I'll finish talking. But she did tell me that that policy is not just specialists. It's primary care physicians also. So if you see a doctor at OSU, regardless of who that doctor is, you then can't see another doctor of the same type unless the doctor that you saw is okay with you seeing another doctor of the same type, which theoretically should not be an issue, because you would think that any doctor worth a shit would be like, yes, let them see a different doctor, because let's make sure that they're getting the best care for them and that they actually feel safe and comfortable and like they're getting the help that they need. But oh no. No. Not this doctor. So he won't sign off on me seeing a different doctor within OSU. My primary care physician actually said that she can put in a request for a referral outside of OSU, which makes it easier than me trying to find a doctor on my own outside of OSU. It means that they will be able to, send them whatever records they need and what have you. So that's good. It makes me feel a little better about that part of the process, at least. Because I haven't been feeling good about a lot of this stuff. I've been dealing with all of the doctor crap, like with the specialist and whatnot. And it really, I don't know for sure that I would feel differently if it were all free, but I do feel like this is the kind of thing that is expected from like socialized healthcare. Like OSU is a major like at least nationally, if not internationally known medical provider. So it bothers me that they have that kind of a practice. I've been looking at Ohio Health for a new doctor. It's probably where I'm going to end up going if I'm able to find somebody there that can see me. I'm still having a lot of pain. I have a lot of guilt around my medical issues as well. Today is a day that started out really bad. Most of my days, almost all of my days start out really bad as far as pain. I have some back pain right now, which comes along with the kidney stuff. I have just the lingering holding on of a migraine that I have taken medication for, lots of medication for, and it just is not quite gone. That is being exacerbated by the fact that I have a sinus headache to go along with the migraine. I think that people that don't get things like migraines realize that you can 100% tell the difference between a migraine and a regular headache. They're not the same at all. As far as my other health stuff, I have been having a rough time. I've started to keep a journal, which is something I strongly recommend for anybody who has health issues. I wish that I had started doing it way sooner. And it's something I'm going to talk to my doctor about it, because I just started doing it like very recently. And so it's been since my last visit with her, and my next visit is not for a couple more weeks, and it's a 6-week follow-up from my last visit to see how new medications are doing. I am on these muscle relaxers now, which I have a lot of difficulty with wanting to take anything that just seems like it could be addictive in any way, even if they say it's not addictive. So I was reluctant to go on muscle relaxers, but I'm glad that I did. I predominantly take them and try to only take them when I am laying down to go to sleep. I have found that I will sleep much better. Like, as much as I sleep, which if you're new around here, let me tell you, I sleep a lot. So, as much as I sleep, I don't necessarily feel like I get good sleep. And since I've been taking the muscle relaxers, I have noticed that I wake up in the same position that I went to sleep in almost always if I go to sleep, if I take muscle relaxers before I go to sleep. And since I am, like, I've always been a stomach sleeper, and I've been trying to sleep on my back. So I know that I'm waking up in the same position that I went to sleep in, because I typically would, even if I did manage to fall asleep on my back, I would wake up on my stomach. So I've been noticing that I wake up in the same position that I fall asleep. And I definitely attest that to the new muscle relaxers. So that has been a huge change and a very, very helpful difference, because even though I'm still sleeping, you know, like 15, 16 hours a day, at least I feel like I'm getting really good sleep. I will still wake up just feeling like crap. This morning when I woke up, and by this morning I mean at 2:30 this afternoon, even though I went to bed at a totally reasonable and early time yesterday. When I woke up, I stood up and just had to like stand there by my bed for a few minutes, because it's almost like my body has to move into the right places. Like, everything just hurts. I did think at one point maybe I was getting the flu, but I wasn't. My body just sucks. So, yeah. it's been a not great time. It is what it is. I try to just sort of deal with things day by day at this point. That feels like the only way that I can deal with things. I've also been dealing with a lot of childhood trauma stuff, which I'm going to make a separate video on. I will put a trigger warning on it because I recently had my first really, like, very triggered reaction. There are things that, you know, will remind me of stuff or whatever, but it's the first time that I've had something happen like strictly because of triggers. And so I'll make sure that there is a good trigger warning on it so that if you've dealt with trauma and things in your past, you know what is coming in that video. And it's not just, hey, surprise. I hope that everyone else is doing well. I'm almost done with this makeup look. And I do want to say, if you are seeing a doctor and you are not comfortable with that doctor for any reason, if you don't feel like they're listening to you, whatever the reason, if you go to a doctor and you don't feel like that doctor is the right doctor for you, you have the right to see a different doctor, at least if you are in the United States. Don't let them tell you that you can't see a different doctor. I hope that wherever you are, that you are well, and I thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video, to listen to me rant, and I hope that you are having a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. There will be more videos coming soon, so make sure that you like and subscribe. Bye.